Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday, wherever you are in the world, whatever time of day it is. Uh, Grateful that you are taking a moment and spending time together. We always create a wonderful, energetic space for spirit to step in and the animals to step in, and they knew we were coming, and here we are. So as you come in, I'd love to hear from you and say hello. And if you're new, welcome, welcome. This is a wonderful place and a wonderful group. And if you've been here many times, I'm really glad to have you back. We create together, so your participation in this is so important and welcomed as we create new things every time. And so today's topic on soul contracts, I think, is particularly important right now in our lives and in our world, and as so many things are happening. And if your life has been full of transition and full of ups and downs, and it feels like a roller coaster. I think being curious about the bigger picture of, like, maybe why this is happening, what context is this bringing to me. Crystal, good to see you from Delaware, and Maggie from the UK, welcome. Hello, Claire. Claire says she loves this topic. It's interesting. Yesterday, I actually stopped into a shop and ended up having a conversation with the shop owner, who has been going through his own transitions and in his personal life, his relationships. And he was telling me, or showing me, his new dog, and who stays and is sort of the shop dog. And he's just the perfect match. And the customers that come in love him. Well, I asked him how he came to have, his name's Jose. And he said, well, my life about a year ago was in a lot of movement, transition. I was separated from my spouse, and our dogs had passed earlier in the year. And he said, I was, riding my bike, and I happened to see this dog, and it was sort of in the ditch, just laying there. And he said it wasn't injured, so he wasn't sure that somebody hadn't dropped him off. And but it clearly, the dog looked a little like disoriented and bewildered. And so that's how Jose came home, and that's how he found him. But he found him at that juncture that I talk about, how animals come in, how that's always we're always at a juncture point. It's always a transition point. So always pay attention to that, and not just the animals, but everything in your life is connected. So there's always a flow. There's always a connection. Cindy, good to see you from Tennessee. I bet it's hot like it is here. Let me see if I can pronounce that. Is it Anne? Yes, Anne, hello from the Netherlands. I'm so glad you're here. Well, you have helped me so much too, because it's your contribution energetically here that makes this so incredibly special. And Amanda, if you've been thinking about it, I highly recommend the private reading. Thank you. We do some deep work when spirit gets into these sessions. I'm as surprised sometimes as you are as to what comes through. So the soul contract piece, speaking of the gentleman from yesterday, his life is in transition. He's lost his other animals. He's not knowing where to put his next step. And then this dog shows up and becomes his really close companion, and just is really goofy and funny and very talkative. So he has this true deep connection as he moves into this next phase of his life. And that's what I want you to start looking at. the soul contracts. And you might say, well, Tami, what is a soul contract? Well, I'm glad you asked. Soul contracts are agreements that are made before we come into this life. We make them with people, with animals. It's both. So whatever we apply to animals, you can also apply to the human relationships in your life. Good, more of you coming in. Another Cindy from Virginia, and hello, Jenny from England, and Deanna, good to see you. Yes, we'll see what we unpack from this. So if you know that the soul contract is the agreement, start thinking about what things in your life have you noticed, because we have them to, and it can be with multiple souls, right? It's not just one soul contract, it's a lot of different ones that interact, and they come, it's not like punishment or something that is visited upon you. Our soul contracts offer us opportunities for growth, and if we didn't have them, we wouldn't actually push through some of our patterns, or whatever the major relationships are in our life, the turning points, the challenges, excuse me, and the blessings. So it can be a big mix of things. So think of it kind of as your soul syllabus, just like in a class, or some kind of course you would take. There'd be a syllabus. So your soul comes into this lifetime with, certain learning goals, and those would be the soul lessons. So the soul contract is one way the universe supports those goals that we come in with, by aligning with the right people, the right animals. You have come here, so on some level, we are all interacting in a soul agreement, a soul contract. It comes to have situations to grow your soul from the inside out. So, how do they affect our lives? Think about anybody, any relationship you have in your life, and what has been the theme. I'm curious if you've noticed something like this. They often play out in the most complex of ways. So have you had a really complex relationship, whether it's animal or human? And then ask, what was that really about, right? If it's over, then that's when we usually reflect and do the kind of afterlife review on the situation. Maggie says, my heart is so heavy. 7.5 months since my cockapoo had to be put to sleep. It just doesn't feel right to me to get another dog. However, I have all this love to give to her. I'm so lost. Oh, I am so sorry. I do understand, and I'll bet everybody here understands that heart heaviness. And you're right, it's a weight. It's like a weighted heart. So, anytime we participate in an animal passing, it changes us. It changes us forever. And maybe, it doesn't feel right to me to get another dog. Maybe it's not the right time for you right now. However, what I love about your awareness is you're noticing, and in the contrast, you're saying, yeah, but my heart has so much love to give. And I thank you for bringing that point up. Hearts are meant to love. They're meant to be shared. We're not meant to close up shop. We're not meant to shut down. And it's okay to take a pause in the grief. And we can take a pause as long as we need to. And it's okay to be lost, because in that lost space, we really start asking some important questions. So I'm wondering, Maggie, if you've started really thinking about some bigger picture questions. And I'd be curious if as we talk about the soul contracts, what has been the theme with your relationship with your cockapoo? What do you think you came here to teach each other? Because guess what? We have our soul contract with them, and they have their soul contract with us about what they came here to learn, whatever soul lessons, that they are wanting to experience here a while on Earth. My aunt says my cat came in when I severed ties with my parents. I only saw this after she passed 6 weeks ago, after 17 years. Wow. I get all over body chills, just like that gentleman yesterday where his dogs passed, his marriage broke up, and then he's like, what now? And this dog shows up. So yes, I love that you're able to connect the dots, because honestly, it shifts us from being event-based kind of thinking to soul understanding of what's going on. So it's really important when we shift into the, wait a minute, what was that all about? And what did it change in me? What did it call forth in me? So, I'm wondering how did you change? After 17 years, what gifts did you share in that relationship? And that's going to lead you straight to the different types of soul contracts that you have. And hello, Mike, it's good to see you. So soul contracts, are not all joyful. They can be pretty challenging. Any of you have any challenging relationships in your life at this point? It can be animal or human. Not all soul contracts feel good in the moment. I know the reason why I have become so curious in my life is that I've had so many experiences with animals and people, and it just didn't make sense as random events. And then the animals started teaching me all the threads of the connection, almost like these golden threads that are tied together. So even if that soul contract with that being stretches you, challenges you, maybe it breaks you open, like in the passing, Maggie, where you're still grieving so terribly, that's a strong soul contract that they help us evolve. So Anne says, I became a good cat mother myself. It's interesting because they bring out some of the most deep pieces of ourselves. They help us resolve things. They help teach us about ourselves. And the animals are always so good at reflecting back. Maybe we're struggling with trust. Well, maybe they are too. So we often walk that same soul contract, soul path often. And that's why they are mirroring back very frequently to the similar things that you're going through. Are you working on trust? Are you working on boundaries, honoring yourself? What is it you're working on? That's going to give you a clue to what you came here to understand and know. Teresa says, I still cry daily for my fur babies that have passed. It's so very hard to get through. Agreed, 100%. And your tears, as I'm reading this, it's almost like I'm feeling that that's a way you are honoring them. Do the tears come randomly? I'm pretty sure you just don't set a timer every day and say, okay, today at 10 o'clock, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry for 10 minutes. So tell us more about that. Do the tears come sporadically? Is it something that gets triggered? And for all of us and you who are listening and watching, those triggers, and when we have those, those are your emotions that are trying to come to the surface. And your tears have a voice. All emotions have a voice. And it can crack you open in the most inconvenient spaces when we break open and start crying. So how many of you have struggled with a passing and find yourself, you think you're all right, you think you're good, and all of a sudden you're back to square one. So, for us to be able to see through the lens of a soul and our soul and their soul, everything changes. Your life becomes very rich. It's already rich, but when we actually see the richness, the gifts we're sharing, it's huge. It's a game changer for, um, what is this trying to awaken in me? So how many of you have had animals who are teachers? What about healers? What about joy guides? What about animals who come to shake you up? What have the relationships you've had with your animals all been about? Just give it a think while we talk today, because understanding your soul agreements gives context to your experiences. Teresa says, nothing triggers them. I just think about them and tears come. You're tapping into this deep part of yourself, Teresa, that still is really, really, it's flowing. It's okay to let them come. I do feel like that's just it's a way you are honoring them. And you know what? Sadness, grief doesn't have a time frame. It is time sensitive. In other words, it's not going to last forever, and it changes flavor, it changes tone, it changes frequency from the initial passing or loss to, after many years, as some of you have shared, that it still touches you very, very deeply. And that's okay. That means you have a tremendous amount of love within you, and it's okay to allow that to come through as tears. Maggie says, definitely, you're so right. My lovely girl has opened me up to everything spiritually. I've learned so much in the last 7.5 months because of her. Oh my goodness, so beautifully said. Yes, all of our life is a spiritual curriculum. It's not just surface experiences. These animals come into our lives, for a reason, on purpose, and in agreement to help us grow, develop into the highest version of ourselves. So I love that you're tracking this and seeing the gifts. So I'm wondering what those gifts have been. And please share them if they come to you. Cindy says, our current 2 dogs came into our lives before we were looking. I love that. We were so drawn to them, and they brought back many beautiful memories of our previous dogs. Somehow we knew they were meant for us. You all are so, I love that you're zooming out, because, our lives, we get so kind of myopic and zoomed into the event. It's really important to zoom out and take a look at they just showed up, and they showed up before we were even looking. I love that because the energy of an animal will sometimes announce itself ahead of times, and a lot of times they just pop in, and we didn't even know we needed them, right? We didn't even know we were looking. And I love that you were drawn to them. You're using all the intuitive skills and tools that we have naturally, and the languaging of it, being drawn to rather than thinking your way to. Claire says the animals are our teachers, and teachers open the doors, and we walk in. I agree. But not all. I don't know. Do you think all of us walk in? Do some of us resist the teaching? I'd be curious to see what you think. And let's see, as all of you are sharing, I had a dachshund, and this is Cindy, saved my life, stopped me from killing myself. I'm well now, but my animals, 3 cats and 2 dogs. I have 1 cat now. What a powerful journey you've had with these animals. And I'm feeling, I don't know if you've written about that, but I'm feeling some writing of the impact that your dachshund had in your life, and what animals, I'm hearing the animals that have come to save you. I don't know about you, but have you ever felt rescued by an animal? We say we rescue them. It's very much the other way around too. We need a lot of help. It takes a village. Thank you for sharing that, Cindy. That's, you speak for a lot of us who, they come at the most powerfully poignant, painful times sometimes in our lives to like shift our focus, change the trajectory of where we're heading. And that's often part of that when they land into our lives, and it can be surprise. We didn't even know how 911 it was and how, desperate we were. So I've had that happen too, where I'm so knee deep in grief. I just thought this was how I would be forever. It just, you just acclimate to it. So thank you for sharing that. Cindy says the current cat and I are best pals. I love that. Amanda says when Grover passed away, I saw signs immediately, and our relationship transitioned from physical to spiritual. When I got into the heart space and connected with him, the tears started flowing. Oh, it's a journey, right? It's a journey, and that journey too, from physical to spiritual, where we change form. But we can still connect with them, and that's where you go into your heart space and connect. They're always there. And I know that sounds probably, sure, Tami, everybody says that. It's real. If you want to connect with them, you drop there. That's where that energy lives. That's where it lived when they were here with you. And the tears flowing again, it's allowing things to release. It's taking the energy behind it. Okay, so all emotions have energy behind them, if that makes sense. And there's kind of a pressure that wants to be released, and tears are the easiest way the body uses to, and spirit uses to let that come forward. And Mike says, my mom passed January 2020. My beautiful soulmate, Sissy, came along 2 months later. Now she's gone. I'm really struggling with the trauma and the pain and the why. I'm so sorry. And that journey of loss is often so difficult to understand. It just doesn't make sense, especially the whys, where our mind can't seem to wrap around things. Mike, I think it would probably be helpful for you, and hey, for all of you and all of us, is to take a look at the situation, the trauma and the pain, and see it through the eyes of spirit. So it's like you have a meeting with the soul of the other, the spirit of the other, and you can actually connect with them and see, ask, what was this really about? I want to understand the truth of the situation, because that will help put context. When we see through spirit, it's a whole different seeing. It's soul seeing. So I think that might be helpful. And even if you journal it, especially since Sissy came in 2 months after your mom passed, to fill that void, to take you on the next journey, you're now, on another leg of the journey. So, being able to connect the dots would be tremendously, tremendously helpful. And Jenny says, my beautiful bulldog Winnie was quite an anxious girl, and I was forever looking to help her. It's only after she passed I realized she was mirroring me. We're the last to know. She was showing me that I needed to look within. Then you received the lesson. How incredibly beautiful. I love that, because that's the love growing forward. It's not for all of our connections are important, and they're even more important than you realize. And a lot of times, like you said, it's afterwards that we look at it and go, wait a minute. It doesn't erase the pain you're feeling, but it does help you see the deeper love and the purpose behind everything. So hopefully, as we continue to talk, I want you to be thinking. I'm going to bring a guest on here shortly, but I want you to be thinking, is there someone in your life or someone who's passed that you now realize may have had a soul contract with you. Think about that for a moment. Ask yourself, well, what were they here to help me with? What were they here to help me learn, to release, to remember? So as we move through this, I'd love for you to, I'm going to have a guest. Gina has agreed to come on. She's very recent in loss and is often struggling every day. And I think, we all can welcome her and hold hands with her as we take a look at what your soul contract might have been with Simba. Thank you, Gina. Appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
on.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
It's it's a powerful soul portal when we get thrown through that, that death process. And yours is very recent. When did Simba pass?
September 4th.
And what has been your journey since that day?
It's the worst feeling. It's horrendous. I just I just cannot get over it. I've been crying every day. For the first 3 weeks, I was just screaming. Couldn't
Mm.
eat. Lost 25 pounds. Just, I've never been like this. I've lost my mom 5 years ago, right before COVID, and Simba was there. I lost my young sister-in-law to cancer 2 years after, and Simba was here with me. But now he's gone, and I have nobody.
Oh,
He was
oh,
my comfort. He was everything to me. He was my number one.
oh.
Everything. Everything I wanted to do was like, what am I gonna do with Simba? Simba was always first.
Mm.
And now he's gone. And it just happened so suddenly. I cannot get over it. I've been crying every day.
It's very, yeah, it's understandable because especially when they pass suddenly or we don't see it coming, that can actually freeze us. Like, how do I say this? We freeze the event and the vibrations and the emotions where it happened. Like, in other words, do you still keep going back to that time and day
Always,
in your,
always. I'm reviewing that whole day.
yeah, it's like
Did I
going
do
back to
something wrong? Did I not do enough? Did I miss anything? And I just cannot find anything.
tell us how old he was when he passed.
He was 6 years and 10 months old. Exactly two months short of 7. And I
Okay.
got him when he was 12 weeks old. So I had him for 6 years and 7 months. And that was the
How did he
first.
come in? How did he find you? He just instructed me to say that, by the
Yeah.
way.
So my daughter adopted a Frenchie from a breeder in Minnesota. I'm sorry, in Missouri. And she brought the Frenchie when she became engaged with her now husband. And I wasn't an animal person at all, but I fell in love with that Frenchie.
Oh, can we have a photo of him? I'd love to see everybody see. If we scroll so we could see it. Yes. Can we
Okay.
stop on that one? Everybody take a look at Simba. Can you
I was,
understand how you would fall in love with this little being, a
yeah,
little spirit? He just corrected me. He was like big spirit. I was like, okay. Um, so so you weren't an animal person, and
no,
you weren't
no.
looking.
And I wasn't looking. Then my daughter with her fiance, they adopted a Frenchie from a breeder in Missouri. And when they got married and left for their honeymoon, I took care of their Frenchie, and then I fell in love. And then a few months later, my husband was going through some health issues, and we decided if he comes out and everything is okay, we're gonna adopt a Frenchie. So we contacted the same breeder, and then Simba was available. So we drove to Missouri, picked him up at 12 weeks. and my whole life changed. I
Oh,
experienced a love that I've never experienced before.
oh, what a powerful soul bond and connection. But let's take a look at how spirit, and be thinking about in your own lives. It's magical the way the animals find us, and it's often through. It's not. It's like not a direct path. It'll often be through. Well, I wasn't really looking, and I ended up, uh, taking care of this Frenchie. I'm not an animal person. I mean, how else was sim I just love it. The animal emissaries, let's call them, had to open your heart because he was coming in. You didn't know it at that time, but your heart got cracked open without you even thinking about it or trying. And that's often the way spirit gets us and the animals get us to lighten up and open up and not be so like strict and guarded and defended and here the Frenchy energy just took you over. And he's telling me that was absolutely necessary because you two had agreed to come together in this lifetime, 100%, no question. And he had to get to you. So beautiful, beautiful the way he arrived and what you stated about my life changed from that moment forward. And it's a love I've never, ever felt. Can you describe that a little bit to us?
He
What was
was
that
my
love that
everything.
you never felt? Can you describe what that would, how can we know that ourselves? What would you describe it as?
It was so unconditional. My son always told me, "Mom, you love Simba more than you love us." And I said yes because he doesn't talk bad, because he appreciates everything I do for him. And my kids are adults. I mean, they're all married and gone, and but they knew how much I love him. They knew how much he has changed my life. I mean, I was an
Oh,
empty nester, and with him, I had everything. I didn't need anything.
so
He was just,
he brought, would you say he brought many, like, he's telling, sorry, he keeps interrupting. He's telling me to say that he brought you a basket full of gifts.
he did. He truly did. He was the best. He was so healthy. He was so playful. He was so kind. His eyes were talking to me all the time. Like I could talk to him. He was like my therapy dog. I mean, we were talking to each other, and he would just like move his head, move his ears with his eyes. I mean, it was like the most beautiful thing in my life.
So are you saying that you sort of had a code to
Yeah,
communicate with one another?
yeah,
And what,
we could just look at each other's eyes and knew what's going on in our head. I mean, he knew when I was sad, he knew when I was happy.
so, animals are empaths too, right? And as we are, and as I would bet every single person here feels and is very sensitive, and the animals are, they speak in energy, they read energy, but they also teach us how to communicate with them naturally. Again, he said he trained you, but he wasn't doing it in a way that you knew you were being trained. If
No,
that
no,
makes
no.
um, and for him, he had important work to do with you while he was here. And the more powerful the soul connection, like really impactful in your life, like you've never experienced anything this powerful, the more um, impactful the lessons afterwards and the soul growth that we don't want to go through. And he's not wanting you to focus on, and we're going to get to this in a minute, the ending, because he's really part of the soul contract the two of you had was to, is I'm hearing, enjoy the journey. Is there, I'm sorry to interrupt this, was there a basket of any kind in, do you have any baskets around the house? Was there
We had so many baskets full of
Okay,
toys.
he keeps referencing baskets, so I wanted to stop and acknowledge him for he's wanting to share that. So that's you know, resonating with you.
Yeah.
Um, the journey that you had with him is so very important as far as what you were meant to give and receive, and he's wanting you to not focus on this piece that you are with the event, but he does want you to talk about it. So if you can and you feel comfortable enough, I'd love to unpack that with you.
Okay. Yeah.
What happened, like as you said, I know I maybe I didn't see something I should have seen. Can you help us lead us up to that point?
So we live in Texas, and Texas has summer heats, and we have a little place in Boston that we bought a few years ago, right around COVID time. And last year, and we spent our summers there. And it was all because Simba, because I knew he cannot survive the heat here in Texas. So after uh, every summer after we bought that place, I used to take Simba to Boston all summer. And when it cooled off in Texas, we would come back. Last summer, we went there and he had changed. Like, he was more aggressive, he was barking at everybody, he didn't want to walk. But right before we left, he went for his annual checkup and everything was fine. The doctor said, just keep doing whatever you're doing. But then we get to Boston and it was just me and him. And his behavior changed. And I just didn't know if he's because he's away from my husband, it's just me and him that he's acting up. And he was normal. I mean, he just didn't want to walk. So I had a stroller there for him, and we would walk on the stroller, and he would bark at everybody, which I thought it was very funny because he never behaved that way. Then we came back early last summer because my daughter wanted had some travel plans and I had to take care of her babies. So we came back around August and he was fine. Everything was fine. That day that he left me, everything looked normal. We did a lot of things. We did our usual stuff when and we walked around the neighborhood, came back. I did couple of errands around the house and then I had to go take care of my grandbabies. Went there, came back home around 3 o'clock. And then, oh, and then he wasn't himself. All day he was normal. And then he started around 5:30 p.m. He started panting. And I thought, okay, maybe he just came back from outside. Maybe it was too hot. And it didn't stop. I mean, he was like laying down on the cool floors, but still he was panting. And then I put him in his stroller, walked him around the neighborhood around 7 o'clock, and then came back. He didn't want to eat. And then he threw up right before he gets to his food. So I cleaned that up. And then he loved to sleep on the bed with me. So after we came back from our walk in his stroller, I took him to bed. And he never got away from me, but that day he was just getting away from me. And I knew something is up. So I put his blanket under him, put his shirt on, and his hands were cold. His paws were cold. And then I got on my phone, and 10 seconds later I looked at him and he wasn't breathing.
Oh,
Oh my God.
oh,
He wasn't breathing. I said, please, Simba, please stay with mommy. I grabbed him. I got into the car with my husband. We went to the emergency and they said he has passed. Oh my God, it happened so bad.
that is so difficult when when that happens because we didn't see it coming. And it's very easy to look back on something and see from a clearer sight, you know, when now that you are looking back and you're able to identify all the different pieces. um, it's it's easy to go into that kind of what ifs, you know, I should have done this, I should have done that. But in the very moment that you were with him, you actually took every step you knew to take at the time. You know, if you had, we can't see what we're not, what's not ready to be seen. The bottom line is, and he's, I'm getting, was he shaking any?
No, he was just like, he panted at the beginning, but then after I took him to my bed, he wasn't. He was just didn't want to be close to me. He was getting away from me. He was getting to the edge of the bed, and I was afraid that he's gonna jump. So I grabbed him, brought him to the middle of the bed, and then he laid down on his sheet, and that's where he slept. He always slept with me. And I thought, okay, now he's not panting, he's quiet. I got on my phone. I had to pay some bills. So I went on my phone and I started paying my bills. And then I looked at him and his shirt wasn't moving. And I just threw
Right.
my phone to the side. I grabbed him. I started to massage him. And I said, Simba, please.
Right.
Please stay with mommy,
Oh,
please.
you know, this journey that you got catapulted into, the suddenness that cracked you, you know, he cracked your heart open when he came. He cracked it open again when he passed. And I'm getting a sense from his body of just great discomfort. I'm also getting the sense that it's his imminent passing couldn't be seen by you. Like it wasn't available for you to see. And so for you to carefully and just like a mother would, you know, put our babies on the bed and tuck them in. You were doing all the things you knew to do. And he's telling me he slipped out very quickly. Like it was like here, like there, I'm getting the feeling like a no difference between being in body and being in spirit. It was that seamless kind of feel. So for you though, to have the shock and uh, the immediate grief and then the immediate, you know, I couldn't do anything to save you. And that's, he's telling me you weren't actually meant to, you know, in that soul, in his own soul path, you weren't meant to prevent it. You were meant to be, and that was that's part of your soul contract, is you were meant to go every step of the way with him, because he's saying that all his life with you, he went every step of the way, went everywhere with
Everywhere.
you. And that, yes, everywhere. And that you have frozen this kind of your relationship with him right there. Have you had trouble in the bed, like sleeping in the
Yes,
bed?
I hate this house. I hate
Yeah.
everything, every corner, the backyard, everything. I have like at every corner I have a picture of him. I just it's suffocating me. I have this heaviness in my heart when I walk in. I'm waiting for him to greet me. All his life, probably, I only left him by himself for 1 hour, maybe not even an hour. He was always either with me or a doggy daycare. He was never alone, and now I feel so alone. I feel so lonely. It's so quiet.
Well, he's for you to find me, your soul is in great transition too, and animals always um, you know, connect those with me who are on this precipice of great soul growth, and here you are, and you're not meant to um, freeze frame where this happened. There's actually kind of, he's saying, Mom, like I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere else. So the natural instinct that you had to pick him up, lay him on his blanket, to, be with him, you did everything right, he's saying. You did everything right. And he's also using the divine timing, and he's like putting like exclamation mark. And so apparently we're all supposed to look at this divine timing piece, which again, it goes with the soul contract of he came in at just the right moment for you. And he says his passing was divine timing. You couldn't have interfered with that piece of his soul path anymore than you can. Well, we can get in our own way, but ultimately we're going to have to like open up and go through the lessons and go through the growth. With soul growth, it's often forced soul growth. It's not like we were going to like, hey, come on in. I'm ready to be cracked open. But he's saying you're meant to let more love in, more love, not close up. Because he says that he like you said, it was a love I never ever have experienced, and that too speaks to this enormous, powerful little big soul that came into your life that could affect someone who didn't even like animals. Like that took some work, and that takes a big soul. So what you want to consider right now as he is working with us, working with you, and he's still there. Everybody is, I don't know if you can read the comments. They're saying we're with you. He's still with you. He's with you all the way. I'm so sorry. Such a heartbreak. Janet says your story is very relatable to me. Often in grief, we feel so alone. Do you
Very
feel
much
alone?
so. Very much so.
Yes, yes, our inner world changes. Teresa, so very sorry, prayers and hugs. There's power in joining together and to share. It's kind of like this shared experience that in our own ways, we have been exactly where you are. And it's not the easy path. Mike says, I'm very similar to what I've gone through. I didn't want to be here anymore either. I wouldn't wish this trauma, pain, and grief on anyone.
Well, at
You know,
some yeah, at
is that how
some
you
points,
feel?
my son thought I'm gonna commit suicide, and he was calling me every day, Mom, please. We're all sad, but please take care of yourself. I just didn't want to be here. I wanted to be with Simba's ashes. I live with his ashes. I go everywhere with his ashes.
Do you have them with you now? Can you show them to us, please? Oh, they're very, that you have arrived here is so important. He's wanting you to know that you've got more openings coming. And so for you to be able to swim through this river that is flowing through you and strong currents are coming through you, saying you're meant to do it with him. And he said, oh God, he says, you're not bringing him along. Why aren't you bringing him along? You're bringing the ashes. I know you just showed us they go everywhere, but where you're not bringing him along is this beautiful love and connection that is still so very much alive. He is the powerful, the powerful experience you had can continue on and is meant to continue on. It's not supposed to stop. And he's not stopping it. His energy is all about, he's a big energy, really big energy, by the way, and his vibration is super high. He says he was very, very funny, and that he made you laugh, and he made your heart light up, and he made you feel lighter. And if you will allow him in this space in your heart, and if you will just open the door just a crack to remember something about him that made you smile, Could we put up the photo of the last Halloween with Simba? So everybody, look at the
It's the
photo.
most beautiful thing.
Now, you can't tell me this wasn't a little joy guide. I mean, I guarantee you everybody's smiling because this is just too darn cute. And he's saying, I was just so cute. I was just so cute. So the way you connect with him and is to drop into your heart space. Let's do it. Let's do it together right now. So close your eyes a minute and drop into your heart space and see if you can feel him there. And just tell me, can you feel the love for him there?
Oh,
So what does that feel like? Is it warm? Is
it
it
is
full?
full. It is full.
Is it full? It's full. So when you're in the space of in your heart and feeling him there, he's saying you're not, he's wanting you to like really amp that up, like really feel it. Because he said you're getting into your head and thinking, you're letting your mind take you out of your heart. He's wanting you to drop into your heart because he said he was a big heart dog. So he drop into your heart and it's warm. Can you feel, what about him can you feel there?
All the love, all the warmth, all the feelings I had for
Do,
him.
do you still have those feelings for him?
No,
So they haven't gone anywhere, right?
never.
Okay. They're yours to keep. They're yours to keep. What is happening is every time you drop into that, you're simultaneously reminding yourself, well, he's not here and he's gone. So you're able to access it, but you're not able to get all the benefit of what's still there. And so what he's wanting you to do as you move through this soul journey, and he says, this soul journey of yours is not over, with him especially. He didn't come into your life for no reason. And if you think for 1 minute, he's going to check out and like not be part of your life, no, he's still going with you. But you've got to, if you want to feel him and know he's there, you've got to find him. And the way you find him is to drop into that heart space. Try not to remind yourself the minute you do it, though, because all he's wanting you to do is, like, for instance, look at this photo and don't go immediately to that was his last Halloween. If we take that apart, like put it to the side a minute, yes, that's logically true. It was. However, what else do you see in
I
this
see the
photograph?
most beautiful creature with the most beautiful eyes. And it was full of love
All
and
right.
happiness.
And so does he look, is he a, do you feel joy
Yes.
from this little being?
Yes.
Yes, you feel joy. Does everybody feel joy from this little being? He is he's saying a jokester. So he's definitely a joy guide. He can still act, if you can access, and you're so courageous for even being here. So I know you can do this. So if you go into heart space and you can even, okay, he's instructing me, carry a picture of him into your heart space. So even if you take this photo and you two like scurry to your heart space with the photo, I'm feeling it. There's this enormous energy in him. There's this enormous love that's like vibrating out.
I
Can you
do.
feel it?
Yes, I do. Yes.
It's not going to take away your pain, but I tell you what this practice will do. And you do it in little bits at a time. You don't try to move boulders out of the way. You just sometimes walk around the boulder, right? You don't try to get rid of them. You're just like, oh, I think I need to go down a different path. And the path he's taking you in is the path he wants all of us to go in, actually. And he's saying he's actually using this as a huge teaching point for our daily lives and think about your daily life and how often are you in your heart space? How often is anybody in their heart space, right? Out there in the world when we're into our daily happenings. But what is there constantly? And I would challenge you. I want you to see if you can ever drop into that heart space and he's not there. You won't be able to.
Yeah.
He's always there. And that's going to be the opening for feeling him more and more and more. But you've got to take a step toward that. You know, it's like letting go of the story that we create around a situation doesn't mean we let go of them. We don't let go. You're not going to be letting go of him. He's trying to open you up to see, Mom, I'm here. All you have to do is take me with you into your heart. And then it becomes, the communication becomes such a conversation that is a communion. He wants you to commune with him. Can you think you can do that?
I'll try. Yeah.
Well, we are all like, you know, needing for him to have taught us this and to remind us that our hearts are meant to love, and the big love can be painful when it grows even bigger. So don't close up the pathway. He's saying, take him with you. Look at photos that make you laugh. Look at funny things. He's saying he has a lot of fun, and he's also saying you have a lot of photos of him.
My camera, my phone is full of his pictures.
All right. So the assignment from him, Simba's assignment, is for you to every day do it as many times as you want, at least once or twice. Grab, take a look at one of your favorite photos and ask him to help you find it. Show me, this is a good communication kind of practice. Show me how to connect with you through your favorite photo. What is it today you want me to look at? And you're going to start getting inspirations to, I think I'd like that one. And then take that into your heart and just sit with it and see what he wants to communicate with you in that moment. And that's all you do. We're not trying to remove the grief. We're not trying to remove. You can't undo what happened. However, you don't have to let it separate you from him. I am so honored that you came and shared. And I know everybody here is just, our hearts are open. Simba cracked us all wide open, and he's such a teacher. And they're saying, just look at his photos every day to connect with him. And Jenny says, I've kept a physical diary of all the signs for almost 1.5 years. We got this with you. We'll hold your hand with us. Thank you again for being here, and for all of you for being here and joining in and bringing your babies here and your special hearts.
Thank you so much, Tami.
You are so welcome. And I will see you all hopefully the next time, which is July 9th. I can't wait.
Bye.
See